Fruit for Thought: Recovering the Original Fruits of the Spirit and Harvesting It/Them Today. Written by Art Edwards. Copyright 2022. This presentation and recording were done by Casey Evans with permission from the author. Author's note: some names and locations in the author's personal stories have been changed. These events happened pretty much as described, at least in my memory. When Paul wrote about patience as a fruit of the Spirit, he used the word Makrothumia. These days, patience is usually associated with waiting. People waiting for the fish to bite, waiting for the storm to pass, or waiting for the cows to come home are considered patient. Okay, nobody knows what it's like to wait for the cows to come home anymore, but you catch my drift. We are patient, and sometimes patients, when we're standing in line at the airport, waiting for our number to come up at the DMV, or rummaging around in year-old magazines at the doctor's office. This kind of patience may be a virtue, but it has nothing to do with the Makrothumia Paul wrote about. Makrothumia comes from two Greek words. Makros means enduring, and thumos implies passion. Understanding patience as an enduring, relentless passion gives this fruit of the Spirit an entirely new meaning. Patience in action, not patient inaction. At one point, my 6-year-old granddaughter could have been a poster child for Makrothumia. One fine spring day, Molly decided she wanted to have a cat. For the life of me, I can't imagine why. At one point, a tiny house cat named Lemon sliced and diced me for the sin of trying to put him in his cage. This has made me wary of cats. I lost a perfectly good pair of pants, shredded beyond use. Even more painfully, I parted with patches of skin from my legs, arms, and forehead. But the story of that trauma is best left for my therapist. So, Molly wanted a cat. She figured she had a shot. It wasn't as if her parents' house was a pet-free zone. There were 2 permanent dogs, Randy and Tigger. In addition, there were assorted other living things that came and went. Think fish, gerbils, frogs, and hermit crabs. Molly knew that adding a cat to her home's menagerie would be a hard sell. She also knew that she had to secure Amy and John's, her parents, approval for her cat project. Molly anticipated a long and winding road leading to perfection in the land of kitty litter. But she was patient. She had an enduring passion. She began with a straight-up ask. Why don't we get a cat? She got a straight-up and immediate answer. No way. Undeterred, she persisted. The cat question was asked every day for weeks. Molly knew about the erosion method of parental management. Water can wear away stone, and children can wear away parents. But Molly's parents were obdurate about this. They did not want a cat. Molly adapted. She changed tactics and moved on. Next came her why assault. If her parents wanted her to be reasonable, they had to reason with her about the cat. Sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander, or cat. And so, in response to her questions, the litany of parental objections began. We already have pets. Cats have litter boxes. Litter boxes are messy. Cats have to be fed every day. Molly didn't expect the why assault to be successful. She was merely gathering information she could later use to hoist her parents on their own petard. Of course, Molly didn't know what a petard, an explosive, was, but she did know her parents' words would blow up in their faces. One of her parents' formidable arguments in repelling the "why" assault was the repeated refrain that the family already had 2 dogs and there was a limit to the number of pets that could be kept under one roof. Molly was not fazed. She acted. At about this time, her parents went to her preschool for a conference with her teacher. When they arrived, the teacher gave them a funny look and said, "You better keep a close eye on your daughter. She's up to something." The teacher, Miss Marie, then took John and Amy to show them Molly's latest project. She explained Molly had spent 2 days working on it. As it turned out, the project was an 11 by 14-inch piece of cardboard, colorfully decorated with 3 words, "Dog for Sale." John and Amy returned home and told Molly there was no way they would sell one of their dogs to make room for a cat. Molly argued it was illogical to tell her they had too many pets and then not let her sell one so they could bring a cat into their home. Her parents conceded the point and agreed that the real impediment to purchasing a cat was not that they had too many pets, it boiled down to the litter box and the hassle of daily feeding. The answer was still no. This concluded the "why" assault. But it was all part of Molly's plan. She was playing three-dimensional chess while her parents were playing checkers. Her passion endured. The next step in her crusade involved enlisting the support of her 3-year-old brother. Owen didn't really care about having a cat, but he could be influenced, and his loyalty was bought with a few M&Ms. Molly knew that a bribed brother would not convince her parents, so she decided to call a kids' family meeting. You have to understand that her family had never had a family meeting of any kind, so it's anyone's guess where she got this idea. At the meeting, she explained all the benefits of having a cat to Owen and then voted about getting one. With all precincts reporting, the vote was 2-0 in favor of getting a cat. Now it was time for the final phase. Molly ambushed her parents at dinner one evening. She told them that, as was her right, and as it had been decided at the kids' family meeting, she would call a general family meeting with a single agenda item. Should the Sherrod family get a cat? Since her parents had never been to a general family meeting, Molly ran it. First, she explained the results of the kids' family meeting. Then she addressed her parents' main objections to having a cat. She had ferreted out those objections during the "why" assault. She told them, "I'll take care of the litter box to be sure it doesn't stink, and I'll feed the cat every day." Check and mate. That weekend, the Sherrods got their cat. They named him Lemon. Molly kept her promises. She fed and cleaned up after Lemon. Molly had a goal. She patiently and relentlessly moved toward it. She overcame all obstacles. Molly was Makrothumia in action. Back to Paul for the last words. Molly demonstrated the heart and soul of the fruit of the Spirit Paul called Makrothumia. It's a word frequently used in the New Testament. It has a sense of perseverance, relentlessness, and dogged determination. Being patient does not mean sitting back and waiting for things to work out. In the ancient world, Makrothumia often described a military campaign where an army kept moving forward. For example, the writer of First Maccabees tells us it was by Makrothumia that Rome conquered the world. Paul also used Makrothumia to describe what love is like. Love is patient. Understanding the patience of love as Makrothumia gives that familiar verse an entirely different sense. Read this way, light bulbs go on, bells ring, clouds clear. What if Paul means love is relentless, unstoppable, always pushing forward like an army conquering a kingdom? What if love is not hearts and flowers or a passive and stoic acceptance, but an active engagement with the world? The writers of the New Testament also make it clear that macrothumia isn't a one-way street. It's most often used to describe God's attitude towards us. God is not waiting for us, but pursuing us. God could have given up on us, but did not. God could have given up on Paul, but did not. God has demonstrated macrothumia to the ultimate degree. God has an enduring passion for people. You could argue that allowing the church to survive despite its failures demonstrates God's infinite patience with our institutions and with us. Paul turns our understanding of patience on its head. If God has so much patience towards us and grants us so much grace, we ought to do the same toward others. We ought to be dogged and determined in helping others find their way. When we are grounded in God, no matter how we describe our beliefs, the fruit will be macrothumia. We are challenged to patiently press on toward becoming whole and serving everyone, no matter what the cost. Patience is not waiting around for something to happen. It's doing something so things will happen. A note from the author. Thank you for listening and viewing the Patience Macrothumia chapter of Fruit for Thought. If you enjoyed today's clip, then a hardcover print copy of the book can be purchased by searching for Art Edwards' Fruit for Thought on Amazon, Google, or store.bookbaby.com. Grace and peace, Art Edwards.